Hey YouTube, welcome back to Lip and Lunkers Fishing. Tonight, for my tackle tip, we're going to go over how to attach your leader line to your main line braid. And how I like to do that, my leader line to braid, I like to use a double uni knot. I haven't really found a knot that is any stronger than that. And I've tied a couple of different knots, and every one I tie other than the double uni always just comes apart. And it always comes apart at the worst time. And what's the last thing you want to happen when you're out fishing? Is have your leader line on, everything tied up, an expensive lure, be out there fishing, hook into a really nice fish, and then your leader comes untied from your main line and you lose that fish. Not to mention losing the fish, but you run the risk of losing potentially a very expensive lure. So for my tackle tip this week, I'm going to be demonstrating how to tie the double uni knot. Alright, so without further ado, we've got 8-pound Berkley Vanish fluorocarbon, and on my rod I have 10-pound Berkley High Vis braided line. So we're going to get right into it. For this, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need the line that you want to use as your leader. For my leader, I chose Berkley Vanish 8-pound fluorocarbon. You need a pair of scissors and your main line attached to your fishing pole. So I've already cut some leader material off for this that I want to use. And I usually go about 6 foot for my leader to tie onto the braid. But tonight I think I took out a little extra, probably close to 8 feet, because a couple places I've been wanting to go fish pretty clear water, so I want a little bit more past my braided line, so less of a chance for the fish to see the line in the water. So when you're tying this, you want to take and have an overlap pretty good ways, about 10 to 12 inches. And since you braid your main line, your first uni knot, you're going to take your mono or your fluorocarbon, whichever you choose, and you're going to make a loop. And that loop is going to look like this. And then in that loop, you've got your main line, which is your braid, and your mono or fluorocarbon. And you're going to take your tag end of your mono or fluorocarbon, and you're going to start wrapping around that loop, going around both segments of line. You're going to wrap that about 6 to 8 times. Then once you get that, you're going to pull your leader line together to make your first uni knot. You don't want to cinch it real tight right in the beginning, because then you're going to come down to the other end where your braid tag line is, and you're going to take your braid tag line and you're going to make a loop with your braid tag line. And then you've got your mono or your fluorocarbon, and then your braid in a loop with both pieces of line pinched together. And you're going to repeat that process. You're going to wrap that braid line around through the loop and around both segments of line about 6 to 8 times. And then you're going to pull that tight again, just like that. And then you've got 2 uni knots about 6 to 8 inches apart. Now what you're going to want to do next is you're going to want to wet that line in between there to give it some lubrication to slide without damaging your line. So you're going to grab your braid line and your mono or fluorocarbon line. You're going to get it wet, and then you're just going to pull these together until both uni knots line up and meet in the middle. And once they meet in the middle, just give it a little bit of a tug test, and that is a super strong, super small knot that will pass through your line guides on your fishing rod with absolutely no issues. And like I said before, that is the strongest knot that I have found for attaching main line to a leader. And then once you're done, just trim your tag ends off and trim them all the way down to the knot, and you don't have to worry about your line coming undone. And I'll trim that up a little better, but yeah, then when you're done, super small, super tight knot. Very easily to pass through your line guides on spinning rod, casting rod, either one. Don't have to worry about it coming apart. You're going to break the line in between the knot or above the knot before you ever break that knot. So that's why I choose the double uni knot when I'm tying a leader to my main line, especially if I'm doing braided line as my main line. I always use the double uni knot because that's a knot that I know I'm not going to have any issues with it slipping. And like I said before, the last thing you want when you're out fishing, you hook into a nice fish, and you got an expensive lure on there, you do not want that knot to come apart. So folks, that was the double uni knot. I really hope you enjoyed tonight's tutorial, tonight's tackle tip, whatever you want to call it. I have a lot of fun making these videos. I really love everything about fishing, everything about the outdoors. If I can share some of the knowledge that I've learned along the way with some fishermen or fisherwomen of all kinds, if you gain some knowledge out of this or gain some useful tips out of this, great. I'm glad I could help. I learned some tips and tricks along the way, and I just feel I need to help pass those along to future generations of fisher people. So, that being said, if you like the video, please think about subscribing if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment. It can be anything. It can be, hey, how's it going? I like your videos. Leave me a comment, tell me some things you'd like to see me do that you're trying to learn. Anything. So I'm just trying to grow my channel and get my voice out there. Like I said, I have a lot of fun doing this. And I'm going to call it a night. So I just want to say God bless each and every one of you. I love all of you. I'll catch you on the next one.